All right, and yeah, I decide to go for that line, pump it up to 6/6, and yeah, at this point, I feel pretty great about this game, of course, and go for the ward. Thinking a little bit there, but yeah, it just is the most reasonable line. Leo, of course, being unlucky here, missing the land drop. Understandably, that he struggled on turn 1 what to do. Oh, there's the slasher, there's the one-off. Probably kept the hand based on the slasher because he knew how good it is. Sorry, going a little fast here. Yeah, I mean, I have a 6/6 in play. It's going to be pumped up to 9/9. This is actually lethal. Yeah, it is. It's more than it's lethal. However you want to slice it. Pretty good top decks there, of course. Drawing the mountain, and then you just see the power of Heartfire Hero and Innkeeper's Talent against. They had the one cut down, but that was it. And then Heartfire Hero just goes rampage. All right. Yeah, the usual sideboarding, take out some Nemesis, take out a little bit of Rage, trim down on the Burst Lightning. Although this is an interesting approach here now. Like, it's different because open deck list, I know my opponent has like one Preacher, one Sheoldred, and so they have a lot more. They have the 4 Deep Cavern Bats, which they're likely going to have to keep in because they don't have that many sideboard cards to bring in, right? So I'm keeping in a lot more spot removal that is cheap, like the Burst Lightnings, but also I'm on the draw, so like against this list, they could even have Kaito, so you would really want to kill the early creatures. So I only have 2 Scorching Shots, which I think is pretty reasonable. And then in open deck list, of course, you can play around with that. All right, there we go. The draw. Ooh, interesting. 5 lands is a lot. And Manifold Mouse and then Innkeeper's Talent. No 1-drop. No utility lands. No Rockface Village. No Restless Ridgeline. On the draw. It's just a mulligan. There's no way around it. Yeah, you have Questing Druid in the postboard games 4 times. That's a great card on a mulligan. That really catches you back up on card advantage. Opponent also goes for a mulligan. Pretty bad, even worse. This is for a 6. This is not good enough. You can't keep this. No creatures. Just have to mulligan again. And Leo is on a 6 as well, so I feel a little like you know, if you're on 5 and they're on 6, it's just 1 card difference after all. And if I can find some Questing Druids, I'm gonna be okay. Well, here we have, I guess, a little bit of a decision. Freelance, Talent, and Rage. I'm on the draw, and I'm already on 5. So I just wanna go and cut a land here from this hand, and then just sort of then between, like, you're always gonna keep the mouse, so it's between the Rage and Innkeeper's Talent number 2. And I think we're playing against Dimir, so the Rage is good at some point in the game, and it's good against Cutdown. I'm on the draw, so it's a little bit clunky. Like, if I draw another creature, for example, in the first 2 draw steps, then I have the mouse on turn 4. This is a tricky one. I'd be interested to hear you guys' opinion. I think I put away Talent, and I tend to agree with that line. Just diversifies my hand a little bit, but it's not easy. Yeah, Talent and Forest, exactly. Pretty reasonable. I mean, it sort of looks like a balanced hand, right? So that is nice. But yeah, I'm really struggling with the decision here as to what I should keep. But I think I end up with the Rage. There's a Siren. I draw a Druid, which makes perhaps for an interesting turn 2. They have blue, so I'm thinking Flood Pit's Drowner. I'm thinking maybe Fairy Mastermind, maybe Phantom Interference. I draw another Copper Line. And interesting. I mean, I very quickly pass here. Yeah, I mean, if you play Talent, it just really doesn't do anything. It runs into the Phantom Interference, which they have 2 of. It's a bit of a tempo negative play if they have like a Fairy Mastermind or something like that. They clearly do have something, right? They didn't want to use their map. So I think I think it's pretty reasonable to be afraid of a 2-mana counter there. They didn't use their map, and they have blue up. So they don't have a removal spell, right? Or they might have, but they definitely have some blue card. Didn't play anything EOT either. Yeah. And I'll pass again. No 2-mana play. I go for the Questing Druid. I sniffed out the counterspell correctly. And now I can go, yeah, just play Talent and keep up the Burst Lightning to deal with the Siren. If they want to map. Holding full control, so they don't exactly know what's up. They draw an island, which is the perfect draw, of course. Enables both the things. I play around the Kaito, respecting it, because I saw their sideboard. It didn't have that many cards to bring in. So I respect the Kaito there. And now I slam the mouse. They only have one more Phantom Interference. If they have it here, it's absolutely brutal. I'm like, wow, okay, you got me, I guess. If that mouse resolves, I'm probably in a great spot. Two good threats in play and a talent. And that second counterspell was just huge for them. I have nothing else to do besides leveling up my talent. And really hoping to draw an Offspring card, to draw a Questing Druid at this point. I mean, you remember, I'm on a mull to 5. They countered 2 of my spells. It's no wonder I'm out of cards. It's not my deck. I'm on a mulligan to 5. And they just had exactly the 2 Quench. And that's also the reason why I like Quench in this specific matchup. You know, countering Questing Druid is good for Dimir. And countering the Offspring cards comes up, right? Like the mouse especially. And that's a very nice way to deal with the mouse. So I guess we can look at my sideboarding. I go a little higher on Nemesis. No, I actually play all Burst Lightnings. I just don't have the Scorching Shots in, I guess. No Scorching Shots, yeah. And then, did I board out all Rages? Huh. I boarded out all Rages. Interesting. Is that really what I did, yeah? That's something... I boarded down to 1 Rage, I guess. Okay. Just really valuing the removal. Yeah. I mean... Yeah, I boarded all Rages there. That's interesting. I like Rage to enable the Torture Tower and to play around Cutdown a little bit. Also plays around Gix's command. Rage isn't the greatest against black removal because, you know, they have so much of it. You really don't want to get stranded with Rages in hand. So I usually have like 2 to 3 against Dimir, but 0 is pretty unusual. I can't really recall what I was exactly thinking. I guess the Rage does get worse against specifically Deep Cavern Bat. Deep Cavern Bat is another disruption piece that can sort of like take something away, and then they kill some of the other stuff, and then you can more easily get stranded with like a Rage. And of course, Burst Lightning gets a lot better if you have if they have bats. Just chalk in general gets a lot better. Great opening hand, 1-drop into Ember Changer. I don't think I had to talk much about that. The classic duress miss happens a lot against Gruul Prowess. And another this 1-mana removal, so that's actually pretty good. And then there's a decision here. Do you want a Questing Druid in your end step? I think you do, because they know about it anyways. But it's tricky, because you do have the mouse as well. So if they counter the Questing Druid, you can resolve the Manifold Mouse with Offspring, which is kind of good. So I'm not sure if it's correct what I did there. I was lucky to not hit a removal spell, right? That's sort of always the problem, to hit a removal spell in a situation like that. Or if you hit something like Rage and you don't have a creature in play, that's also not good. They don't know about the Burst Lightning, so it's going to blow them out here. I just drew it right after duress, really brutal. They missed the land drop there, and now a bit of an interesting spot. Well, I'm certainly going to play Heartfire Hero. The decision is between Questing Druid and Nemesis. And yeah, I think it's smart. There's no Malicious Eclipse in my opponent's deck, like no -2/-2. So I think just going with the Questing Druid and sort of building that up. The earlier you play Questing Druid, the better it is. That's just how it goes. Sure, it's less mana efficient. It's a bit of a value line, but my opponent's at 18. So the game is, not gonna finish super quickly. So I'd rather just throw out the Questing Druid. It's probably gonna eat a removal here. My opponent is, has a full grip. Yeah. They're thinking about doing it now in case they want to play around Snakeskin Veil. Or I don't know, maybe something else. Here I'm thinking about removal. I'm also thinking about Phantom Interference. Yeah, I think it's a bit of an unintuitive play that I make, but it's actually kind of smart. I think because like I have such a advantage here on the board. I'm just gonna cast my mouse for 2 mana and create a bunch of different threats. It's not the card advantage play here, but yeah, then I go Nemesis for 3 mana and have like the utmost pressure essentially. And now I have the Heartfire Hero as a 4-power threat essentially, as a 2 power double striker. The Nemesis is problematic, and the Druid is a 4/4 now. So no matter what they kill, I'm gonna deal a good chunk. Either 8 or 7 damage here, put them to 11, and then I still have 3 decent creatures in play. On the next turn, they again likely only have 1 removal spell. They can kill one of them, then they go down to like 6 life or something like that. And anything I draw besides lands is going to be great here, pretty much. And besides like something like a Torture Tower, I guess, which I draw. But yeah, I pumped the hero. This is actually an interesting spot because like if I pump the hero at 6 double strike, and to myself, like they have Drowner here potentially or another Anoint. They have 4 Drowners and only I think 1 Anoint. Maybe they have more Anoints in the side, but I can check real quick. My opponent has, yeah, they have 1 more Anoint. So they have 2 Anoints. They have 3 Anoints in total, used 1, so they have 2 and 4 Drowners. If I give double strike to the mouse, they tap my Nemesis probably, and I attack for 4. It's just a little bit less threatening. If I attack here, it's also a hit for 4, but I tap the hero. Right. I think it's okay to give hero the double strike. Even though I'm kind of, I know they have either Drown or Anoint here. Oh, I guess they have Anoint. Maybe they have, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah. So they take 4. I play the land. You want to have all your lands in play. The bluff value isn't really that important because of like Questing Druid turns can really result in you using all your mana as well as Innkeepers. Draw Rockface Village, easy pump there. Opponent still hasn't drawn a land. And I go for the double strike, presumably losing another creature here. It's actually like I drew a land and a Torture Tower. Like if I keep drawing badly and my opponent just has 2 removal spells, Flood Pit's Drowner, of course, I'm happy about because I can actually kill it. I attack first in case they want to jump, which they're obviously not going to. But yeah, I'm gonna kill it now. And my opponent has time now to actually claw back into it. Good old Flood against Screw. I drew 7 lands, they draw 2. But yeah, the Siren here is really bad for them. Means they chump. I draw a good card, and that pretty much seals the deal. Now they have to chump block. Can't gain life for the rest of the game. It's actually kind of interesting. You could pump the mouse here. But I decide to pump the Nemesis just to really make them have to jump block. I think it's kind of nice. But it could go south, I guess, if they draw. If they draw exactly like cut down and have a go for the throat and the land. Like if they draw land and they already have cut down and go for the throat, they can actually kill my Nemesis and kill my mouse. If I put it on the mouse, then they need to have, then the mouse is going to be 3/4 with ward, and then they need to have, they can't kill both my creatures. There's nothing that does that, right? They can have a go for the throat for my nemesis, but then they can't kill the 3/4 mouse with ward. There's no Shieldred's Edict. Yeah, and like the Siren in play or not, I mean, it gives them another chump blocker, I guess, for next turn, which buys them a turn. So that is also awkward. So they don't, then they can just kill the mouse, but then they lose, I guess. That's tricky. I think putting on the Manifold mouse is actually smarter. So it does play around, like putting him to 1 or having him chump block. I guess it doesn't make a big difference. Yeah, I think I should have put it on the mouse actually. I feel like killing the Siren off in that attack isn't as important as like this scenario where they have cut down, go for the throat, and they can actually, win the game if I draw 3 lands off the top and they play a Shieldred next turn. Right? Like I kind of gave them the window there, which I didn't need to. But they didn't have it. All right. Well, taking this one home, so I'm 3-1 now. And you need, so this is 4 and 2 is the golden spot. Then you're certainly locked for top 24 for the single nation bracket. And 3-3 is on the bubble. A couple people with 3-3 will make it in. Most people on 4-2. Everybody on 4-2 makes it in. And even some will make it into the top 8. I started 2-0, so my breakers aren't the best. So likely for me not. But yeah, I'm 3-1 now. And just looking to well, yeah, if I win out, I'm gonna make top 8 and I'm gonna skip the first round of play on day 2, which would be awesome if I go 4-2. So yeah, 2 rounds left in the game. All right, go to the next match then. All right, next game, I'm facing Yuta Yokokawa, also on Dimir midrange. And similar list to the one before, no Deep Cavern bad. Instead of the Deep Cavern, there's some Cyber Cryptomancers. 3 Tishana's Tidebind are pretty aggressive on that. 1 copy of Nowhere to run, and then 3 cut down to go for the vote. 2 Edict and 2 Anoint, 1 Phantom Interference, low on counter spells. Sideboard has 4 Preacher and 2 Gix's Command and a Shieldred and a Dissection tool. So a lot of red hate. And 3 Ghost Vacuum as well. 4 Preacher, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards to bring in. Probably taking out the Cybers, taking out the Kaitos. The Tidebinder, I guess, can stay. The Fairy Mastermind goes usually like take out Kaito, Fairy, and then maybe a Cyber, and then you're good to go. Something like that. All right, here we go. I lost the die roll, and this is the hand I'm looking at. Tricky. Not optimal. It can be kind of okay into removal, heavy hands from the opponent, but it's pretty bad against like a Siren into Kaito draw. It does have a rich line, which is nice. I'm on the draw. I could draw some creatures that I could deploy early. The shot, if that would have been like a burst lightning, I'd be maybe a little bit more inclined to keep the hand. Shot is not the greatest in game 1 against Dimir. I think I'd rather have a shock. I think I would reluctantly keep because like mulliganing isn't great. The games can drag out. Questing Druid is one of my better cards. And there I draw a hero, which, yeah, I think it makes sense to deploy it on turn 1. You could also make a case for playing it with Snakeskin Veil up, honestly. Opponent missed the land drop. Getting pretty lucky in that regard. I draw the mouse. I mean, just insane. I mean, there's maybe a world. Not really. I mean, there could be a world where you go Rage on a hero and keep up Snakeskin Veil. But like, even if they have a removal here, I'm going to have 1 creature in play. So this is just a really nice... Like, if they go removal on hero, I can then Rage the mouse. Or if they go removal on mouse, I can Rage the hero, hit them for 6, have a 3/3 Trampler... No, a 4/4 Trampler in play with the Snakeskin Veil backup. I'm never ever going to lose that game. So you always just tap out and slam there. I mean, this hand... Yeah. Pon missed the second land drop, just snap concedes. Knowing here that they have 4 Preachers, I'm going to board differently, of course. You're going to see me likely trim down to 1 Burst Lightning even, keep in some Rages, Yeah, I think in hindsight, I kind of like cutting a Nemesis on the draw. I've really found Nemesis to be kind of too slow on the draw, too expensive. But looks like that I keep them here in on the draw, and I take out Paw Patch Recruit, Hired Claw. Yeah. The Recruit, I didn't want to have it because of the double Gix's command and the 4 Preachers. So like if they play Preacher turn 3 on the play, the Recruit is just not a good play to make on turn 3 because they can attack into you, draw a card, you know. That's why I went down on 1, but I think it's still good enough, and I shouldn't have done that. I think it's better than Nemesis. Nemesis lines up a little bit better into Preacher, but if they go Preacher on the play and you go Nemesis on the draw on turn 3, attack them, they will just take it and attack you back and likely win that game because they can then like play a 2-mana removal and kill your Nemesis. They took 3, whatever, you know. They can accumulate value of their black creatures, and you know that the 3 damage doesn't really matter that much. Because this deck doesn't put as much pressure on. So in hindsight, I think Recruit and Claw should have been in the deck, and Nemesis, 2 Nemesis should have been out of the deck. Looks like I'm making the decision at the end there to have the Recruit in. All right, nice. But that was sort of the thought process why it wasn't in from the get-go. All right, here I'm on the draw. Nah. Those are these one-landers. Like, I personally, if one of the cards in my hand would have been an Innkeeper's Talent, besides like the 3 cards on the left, the Torch, the Hero, the Copperline Gorge, and the Innkeeper's Talent, I would keep this hand. But because it's not Innkeeper's Talent specifically, it's just like Questing Druids, I think it's not good enough. Oh, I actually do keep. Okay. Well, there you go. Keeping one-landers on the draw, maybe you should avoid it if you can. And yeah, that is my Innkeeper's Talent, but no second land. Yeah, I got a little bit ahead of myself there, I think. It's close, but the problem is just like a one-lander is a one-lander. You can just lose a game like this, right? Obviously now I have to discard in my end step. It's just we can skip fast forward. I'm never drawing my second land. I just die. That's what happens here. They play Curiosity, GG. Yeah, on the play, cutting even the last burst lightning, which I think is fair, adding another rage, and yeah, adding the Hired Claw. Thinking about the Nemesis, I mean, the reason against Hired Claw is the two copies of Geeks' Command. Nemesis is actually kind of fine against them. Hired Claw is not great against it. Yeah, I don't like the mulligan decision I made there in the end. Don't love it. All right, now another one-lander on the play. Double Claw, Torch the Tower, Mouse, Scorching Shot. This kind of hand has a lot of good things going for it. And a Questing Druid. These hands are rough. I don't know. I mean, we have the green as well, so it's not just a mountain. Hired Claw can put on some early pressure, and I have removal. Questing Druid can get me out of the situation. Mulliganing isn't great, especially when you're on the play. Like, then they can just go removal, and you like might not have enough stuff going on. I don't know. I feel like this is pretty 50-50, honestly. I think I know I'm gonna keep already. Upon mulligans. Yeah, having 2 proactive plays and a torch. You really just need 2 lands. The odds of drawing a land, you know, it's like 40-ish% on the first draw step, and then, you know, it accumulates and gets higher every draw step, of course. I draw the torch, it's just the absolute worst draw. They have double cut down. I'm like, damn, am I gonna lose? And now I did draw the land, going for the Questing Druid, holding up Torch the Tower. Opponent doesn't threaten the Kaito, which makes me happy. And just play land. I go for Questing Druid. Want to make a land draw. Perfect. I'm happy about those. Play Mouse, hold up Torch. thinking they have a removal. They didn't use their map token, right? So they probably have like Drowner or removal or counterspell, but they only have one Phantom Interference in the 75. They have the Drowner. Oh yeah, now one of the most interesting scenarios I had in this entire tournament. They play Curiosity. What do you do? Looking at my hand, I have double Torch. They will draw 2 cards here. Yeah. I mean, there you see Drowner at its best. They went removal, Siren, Drowner on turn 3, untap land 4 Curiosity, like the god draw essentially against my deck. Pretty brutal. And Drowner is not that impressive against red, especially post-board when Kaito is usually out of the deck. It's kind of anemic. But it is good in conjunction with exactly Curiosity if you can sort of like make use of the Drowner by attacking with, and there's no like offspring tokens, there's no blockers in play, then Drowner is actually pretty strong. And they accomplish that right here. So yeah. You could take the hit. You could take the hit, go to 13, they draw 2 cards, and then you untap, go Questing Druid, Torch, the Curiosity. I think that's a reasonable line. You could kill one of the creatures here, the Drowner or the Siren. Take 1 hit, they draw a card, untap, and go Questing Druid, Scorching Shot the Curiosity. That's probably not great. You could then go Scorching Shot plus Torch, kill the Curiosity that way, use up like all your removal, and they have like the Siren in play and 3 cards on the beginning of their turn, and you have like a mouse, a Questing Druid, like a mouse in hand, a mouse in play, and a Questing Druid in your exile zone. And of course 2 more draw steps as well. If they have like 1 Preacher, you're probably gonna be a little bit in trouble if you use your Scorching Shot. It's a really tough spot. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. I mean, I think what's the most sensible line, even though it hurts a lot, is probably go Questing Druid and then double Torch the Curiosity. Leave them with the 2 small creatures and 2 cards drawn. Yeah. I did not decide to go for that line. I killed one of the creatures here. Yeah. I think I killed the Drowner to prevent damage, which I'm also not super sure about. Like the Siren being a flyer is a little annoying, actually. They didn't draw land, so their hand is loaded. I draw Hero. Yeah. If I go Manifold Mouse of Offspring, they draw another card, the Siren, I have to jump the Curiosity, which isn't great. I think reasonable to do here is Questing Druid, Hero, and then hold up Torch. And then potentially block the Curiosity and torch it. Or you could torch the Siren and then block with the Questing Druid that grew into a 3/3. And then you could sort of untap with Hero in play and Mouse in hand and Scorching Shot. So you can maybe overwhelm your opponent. There's still a 20. It's always tricky leaving Curiosity in play as an enchantment, right? You really want to avoid that. Yeah, it's a tough spot. I know what I did got like extremely punished, so I'm a little bit biased. Yeah, I killed the Siren here pre-combat, and then I just blocked the Curiosity, and their hand is just the absolute worst case scenario. They go kill my hero off, I think, with like an Anointed Affliction or something, and then they play 2 Sirens. It's the worst case scenario. Like I'm basically my pressure is completely gone, and they yeah. They added 2 flyers with the Curiosity as an enchantment. Like, if I would have let them have the Siren and draw another card, I really got punished for not killing the Drowner, for killing the Drowner, by the way. Like, because the Questing Druid would have been a pretty good blocker for the Drowner, and then I could have maybe shoved the Heartfire Hero in front of the Curiosity and then use a Torch post-combat damage, which, like, the thing is, yeah. And then I would have been fine. It was tragic, really, because now I only have these double striking mouse left, which, you know, they're 20, so it's a good old fashioned race. But the problem is that they draw a lot of cards every turn, and yeah, from here on out, they just draw so many cards, and they don't draw bad ones either. So I go into my turn, I give everything double strike. I drew another mouse, just like pretty sad draw. I think at this spot, I am thinking like what to do, and I think after they took all of it, they have a drawn on top. I think you're supposed to just kill off the Siren and play a mouse for 2 mana to try to stem the bleeding and maybe survive another 2 turns. I was sort of going for the kill here, hoping I draw like a Rage off the top, going wide. But I think that's just a mistake. If I actually kill the Siren there, they only have 2 easy damage on me. They might activate the Sanctuary, to be fair, and hit me for 5. But then they still only have a 2/2 flyer, so I can chump block next turn. And now I'm under a lot of pressure. Yeah. So tricky spot. I think I messed up there. I should have Scorching Shot the thing. No, I give double strike to everything. Now I have to play a little bit carefully. Like, how do I actually win this game? I shot the Siren, go down to 4, right? So I have to leave in a couple blockers to not die. So also there's the Sanctuary, so they technically have a good block. They have the Drowner to tap things. Perhaps you just attack with like 3 creatures here. I don't know if I actually do that though. They go for Drowner pre-combat. So no. Yeah. So I can block the Drowner. I can block with mouse on one of the man lands and deal them 6. So it's basically just hoping they have literally nothing. But they also have 2 man lands here, right? So this attack just leaves me dead on board. Because they can activate Sanctuary on the end step, and then activate Relief and attack with all. I shoot the 3/3, and then I can block those 2, take 4. So I basically killed myself there, and even against nothing. So I needed to stay back with more creatures. They had Annoyant go for the throat as the last 2 cards. I was like, okay, fair enough. GG. Yeah, I mean, it really came down to that one turn with the Curiosity, to how do you play against that. This was really interesting. Again, they had the absolute nut draw. It was pretty painful to play against that, of course. They had exactly the punishment. Like, if they don't have Siren there, right, and a removal spell as their last 3 cards, if they just have like another land and like 2 removal spells, not additional cheap flyers, then the game could have gone a whole lot differently. But yeah, maybe I was meant to, I don't know, kill the Siren and then like here torch the Curiosity. If this Spyglass Siren would have been a Drowner, they can't really attack here, right? I guess what they could have done is they could have played the removal and the Questing Druid and attack with the Drowner. And then I'm also in a little bit of an awkward spot, because then I have to use the torch to do something. Or they get to draw a card with the Drowner. It's just, Curiosity was just really good here. It's like it drew them 2 cards. Maybe I needed to just eat the 4/1 essentially. Like, right? I just couldn't do it. I couldn't eat the 4/1. Like, them drawing 2 cards and me having to trade 2 resources with the Curiosity. I couldn't take it. I was hoping that, I don't know, like, just don't play more cheap flyers, please. You know, like don't have more of that stuff, you know. You already played 2 sirens, you cut the fairy masterminds, like I know they only played 1 siren, I guess, this game. So yeah, I was really banking on them not punishing me, but they did. They did punish me. All right. That was round number 5. So we're sitting at 3-2 right now. All right, very last round, round number 6. I'm sitting at 3-2. 4-2 makes it into top 24. I'm probably gonna be like 9th to 13th or something. And yeah, I'm playing for that. And if I lose, maybe I'm in as well. So it's not like the end of the world if I lose, but of course you want to get that victory. And I'm playing against Dimir again, the 4th Dimir opponent this tournament. I'm 2-1 against Dimir so far. Just lost the last round against Utah. And 4 Kaitos, 4 Curiosities, so pretty modern version of the deck. 2 Mockingbirds, 2 Preacher in the main deck. Pretty stock stuff. Sideboard has 2 more Preachers, a Gixus Command, an Eclipse, and 2 Shieldred. So my Scorching Shot plan is going to be good against all those black creatures. And yeah, we go from there. Drew Keeney is my opponent. And here we go. Mulligan, because opponent kept the hand of 7, by the way. This is just too slow. This is too reactive. Scorching Shot not the greatest, so easy mulligan. This hand is not that much better. I'm really missing a 1-drop on turn 1, or like a Burst Lightning. But yeah, I mean, I can live with it. A little bit of an interesting call, I guess. You could... I think you're not putting away a land. It's between Mouse and Nemesis, I guess. I go with the Nemesis. Could see that Mouse is the correct line. You could go like... You know, it's a little bit more mana efficient, I guess. I get Snap punished for not bottoming a land. Maybe it's correct to bottom a land. It's a little greedy, though. I don't know. I mean... I'm probably gonna go Mountain, Innkeepers, then Nemesis. Yeah, I have a bug here that I don't know. It just turns off my faces automatically. You see, like, it just turns them off, and I don't have faces turned on for some weird reason. Only if I have full control on, you can see them in the corner, and there's just nothing you can do. There's just I can't put stops that easily in that way, I guess. In any case, I think I can still put stops next to the, you know, next to the avatar symbol. Yeah, I go for the Innkeepers. Opponent passes again, and here, you know, they clearly didn't have a 2-mana Flash Flyer, so they didn't have a Drown, they didn't have a Fairy Mastermind. They play 1 copy of Tidebinder. So I'm thinking to myself, they have a heavy black removal hand. My hand, I have drawn a 2nd Nemesis, and I wanted to be a smartass and not play my Nemesis, and yeah, I just level up talent here. The thing is, they could have drawn one of the 8 2-mana 2-drops to play here, and they have the Tidebinder, right? Which I have the info they didn't have one on turn 2 because they just passed through. Like, they didn't even put any full control stops. So I'll go with this line. But I get Omega punished by the Tidebinder. I think you can do this line if you have a Shock in hand. That's much more reasonable. But because there's the potentiality of a Tidebinder, I have to slam the Nemesis there. Yes, it's gonna run into a removal, but I have another Nemesis and another Mouse, and I will lose the game so badly if they go Tidebinder into Curiosity or something. Or like even a Kaito. I mean, they could go Tidebinder, attack me, play a Kaito. I mean, Kaito isn't that bad because you can attack Kaito down with the Nemesis pretty easily. I guess Kaito is not the problem, but Curiosity specifically is a big problem. It is a little aggressive to go for Curiosity here. This kind of walks into my Tidebinder, but they walks into my Burst Lightning on a Tidebinder, but they just go for it and get rewarded. And now I'm playing from behind against a board that I don't have interaction for. It couldn't get any worse. Like, at this point, I kind of know that I'm like 10% to lose the game. And it was the one decision, 10% to win the game. It was the one decision I made there, like playing the Nemesis or not playing it on turn 3. Cost me the game. I got a little too fancy there, I think. Now I go for Mouse, then like block the Tidebinder with the token that is buffed by the Innkeeper's Talon and take another hit from the Curiosity. I'm trying to sort of hope that I can maybe sneak out a win with the Rage and double strike is my hope here. But I know how unlikely that is, of course. The Nemesis looking rather clunky and expensive in this hand on the draw. As I said in the part 1, that Nemesis was sort of a concession to red matchups, but it's really not the greatest card in an Innkeeper's Talent deck. You rather have like cheap creatures. I think Theo Jung played 2 Swift Spears in the main deck. Or I mean, Pawpatch Recruit also does the trick, I guess. Yeah, I'm just taking the damage here. I'm thinking to myself that if they have another removal spell, I'm just gonna lose the game because I really need the double striker here for the Rage. I really just need to hope they have a hand with like free curiosities and lands and like something weird. I'm not blocking the Tidebender at this point anymore. I don't want to play the trading game. I just want to raise. Opponent's tanking a lot. Plays a cut down on the mouse, and I kind of at this point lose pretty much all hope. This is the perfect spot for Dimir to be in. Have pressure, draw cards. Your cheap removal is going to be very effective. End the game quickly. And I go for Nemesis and Talent. Make a 5/5. Hope to have a block, but they have a removal spell and I die. That was a quick turn 6 kill. Yeah. And it really came down to turn 3. I was really mad at myself. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to be too clever there. I was really mad at myself for that punt. I think it's just, especially with my hand being somewhat loaded, like I have 2 more additional threats. I don't have to play that carefully with my threats. And that was just a clear mistake. All right. Well, that was a no-lander, so easy mulligan. And now I have a pretty good hand. I guess it's interesting. What do you put away? I guess it's between Rage and Recruit. You certainly wouldn't want to put away Hero or Innkeeper's Talent. Yeah, Rage is nice with the Hero, but if they have a removal for it, then you still have 2 creatures to recruit. You can punch through like a Preacher. My opponent has 4 Preacher and 2 Shieldred. It's tricky. They have 1 Gix's Command. I decided to go with the Recruit, sort of respecting the Preacher, I guess. The bigger creature. They have Cut Down. And now I'll go for Talent. Drawing the second Talent makes me regret not having kept the Recruit. Because like Rage and Talent are sort of similar. Slam the Recruit here. And yeah, I mean, if I would have had another Recruit instead of the Rage, I would have been happier. And I sort of punched myself for it. Yeah, I mean, the Rage, if they have a removal heavy hand, they're on the draw, have a more higher likelihood having a removal heavy hand. Yeah. And the Innkeeper's Talent is already buffing my creatures to be more effective. So here I just go for Nemesis. I mean, if you go for Talent, they just go removal and you have nothing in board, so you have to go for Nemesis there. And even if they go for Nemesis, I get a 4/4 Recruit, which is kind of nice. And Drowner is even better for me because this is like one of the situations where Drowner is just so much worse than a removal spell. I mean, if they had Curiosity there, I guess it would have been fine, but now they had to double pump my Pawpatch to kill off the guy. I mean, it's just really, really bad. I go for the Ward. Yeah, I mean, there's not much decisions here. I have to, again, keep deploying creatures, of course. Can't wait for the Offspring here. I go for this first. If I go for the Ward first, it doesn't really change things because they would, I guess. Yeah, no, if they have Cut Down here, I have to play it pre-combat to get the counter on it because I don't want to pump up the 5/5, of course. They have nothing. I'm very, very happy. And then I guess I'm just going to pass. I guess it's an interesting line to take. Just passing, playing around. Specifically Cut Down. Maybe. Well, yeah, I guess at this point, you know they don't have a 2-mana removal spell because that Recruit would have died. 100%, right? They don't have Go for the Throat. They don't have Anoint. So, and they also don't have Drowner likely. Yeah, they don't have Drowner because they would have played Drowner in response to my mouse when I put the mouse on the stack. So I can sort of pinpoint their hand, and I'm like, if I go for the Endkeeper's Talent Ward, and they have cut down right there and then untap, draw a black removal, and kill my guy, it would be sad. What could also happen, yeah, I remember, I did think about that, and it's actually good. I just remembered, is the Gix's command, of course. Like if they play a land here and just choose destroy big guy, destroys everything with two power, I would be really unhappy. So that's another great reason to hold up the rage there. Well played, Arne. And they just passed the turn. And at this point, I'm like, okay, Curiosity probably. Yeah. And I draw another talent. So yeah, I just play another talent here because like now giving ward doesn't really accomplish that much. So just buff up my creatures more. And it's actually interesting. How do you attack? How do you put the counters? And yeah, I really like what I did here again. I mean, actually, no, never mind. No, I mean, there's a world in which you could not attack if you think that Restless Reef trading with one of your creatures is bad for you. But then I made the math, and I realized that if they go for the Restless Reef, they're just gonna die. Because they take exactly 10 from my mouse. No, they take 12 actually with the rage. So I was like, okay, yeah, I can just attack into this reef, no biggie. Yeah, they take 1,000,000 damage here, and I just win the game. Yeah. All right, rage did something in the end. I guess I was lucky enough to keep drawing creatures, so I didn't really need the third paw patch. And they only had exactly 2 black removal spells, right? But if they had a third one, no, they had 3 black removal spells, right? Now they had 2 and a Drowner, right? Yeah, 2 and a Drowner. So here I have all the Burst Lightning out because they're pretty heavy on black creatures. I still have the torches in the deck. And the free rage is in, Nemesis in. I think again, because now I'm on the draw, I shouldn't have this many Nemesis. I hope I'm making that change. I think probably should have 4 talent even on the draw. Talent gets a little worse on the draw, to be fair. So there's an argument to be made to cut it. Looks like, yeah, looks like I'm going with this. Not too happy about that. I think Nemesis on the draw is just really difficult to deploy. I guess Drew was running. No, it's just 1 Gix's command, I guess. 1 Gix's command and 1 Eclipse. Oh, this is a tricky hand. Opponent kept a hand of 7. I think you can mulligan this hand. Like, we have all our mana, we have a talent, which is one of the best cards in the matchup. But yeah, I'm kind of punching myself, maybe that left in all these Nemesis. It's just, they're so clunky with the talent. Drawing torch is kind of nice. But yeah, you can mulligan this hand. Like, this hand is too serviceable to mulligan it. This is not a very fast matchup after all, right? Like, resources are important. I go for talent turn 2, they go for Drowner. I'm like a little scared of a Kaito here, but not even. Like, that's the nice thing about Nemesis, I guess, that I can just kill off the Kaito. But yeah. It makes Nemesis better in game 1 for what it's worth. But it does get worse game 2 and 3 because there's no more Kaito to run into. And here they have 3 mana up, so they're representing Tidebinder, 2 Phantom Interferences. So what do you do? If you go Nemesis, you just run into a removal. If you go Paw Patch, you run into the Tidebinder, but you're left with a 3/2 creature at least. And if they don't have Tidebinder, you're going to be pretty happy. Also, if you go Nemesis, like, they could just play a flash creature or like another Drowner, and then play a Curiosity on you on turn 4 and draw 2 cards, and from there you might really lose the game. I also have this Torch the Tower, which is excellent with an Offspring token, so I just decide to go with the Paw Patch, and I think that's correct. Just getting the token is really valuable. They have the best possible, I mean, the best possible, yeah, I guess the Phantom Interference or Tidebinder are kind of similar there. They go with the Tidebinder, which is, yeah, it is how it is. Paw Patch is now shut off. They play the land pre-combat, kill my paw patch, attack for 5. And they have 2 mana open and 3 cards in hand. So what do you do here? You could go with Nemesis and hold Torch the Tower up, or you go with Mouse. And then pump like the 1/2 into a 2/3. So you can block the Flood Pits with the 2/3. If I go just Nemesis and they have a removal, I can Torch the Tidebinder then. It's just like Nemesis looks so heinous, honestly. It's so clunky. Like this on the draw, Dimir can sometimes just tempo you a little bit. So like not often, of course. Often they will have removal heavy hands. Decide to go with the mouse and pump the mouse. And as it looks like my opponent is not using full control, so they don't have any instant there, which makes me very stoked, of course. I think you just put it on the Manifold Mouse. Sure, it's the better creature, but that way they can't even attack with the Drowner. Yeah. They just attack with the Tidebinder. Hit me down to 11. And I draw another Torch. And they didn't pop the map. So I'm like, are they trying to activate the Soulstone Sanctuary? Because I was tapped out. Or do they have a Curiosity? But I doubt they have Curiosity because they would have played it. So I'm just thinking, okay, they probably just want to activate the Soulstone there. And what do we do here? It's actually interesting because I knew they didn't have a 2-mana removal, right? Because they just flat passed priority when I played the mouse on the previous turn. So I'm like kind of thinking maybe I can go for like a 12 damage swing with the Rage here. But they might have drawn a removal, of course. They didn't pop the map, so maybe they have a removal up. It's a little risky. So yeah, here, now that I've stabilized a little bit on the ground, I think it's reasonable to play Nemesis and just maybe attack with like a 2/2 double striker. Like I'm certainly feeling defensive now because also the Soulstone is over there. I guess you don't want to pump the 1/1 actually. Maybe you just play Nemesis and pump it and pass. Play really defensively. I pump this guy and attack for 6, I guess. And then play Nemesis as a blocker. Yeah. It's reasonable. Take 6 probably, go to 14. And then I just play Nemesis, hold up Torch. They go for the Soulstone as expected. And if they activate like Restless Reef, or if they kill my Nemesis, I can still block and Torch something, take 3. And then I threaten the lethal with the mouse on the Rage. So if they tap too low, I'm actually kind of fine. So it's not too bad for me. Of course, I'm like really sweating at this point. Like we're 3-2. This is game 3. We're playing for the clean top 24 winning in here. And they are also in the tank on the attacks. Not sure what to do into this Nemesis, which makes me really happy because like I'm like, okay, you don't have a removal spell, you're just attacking for the Siren. That is great. No nothing, no Kaitos. I waited with the Torch because of the map token, and I think now I'm using it. I have a second Torch. There's nothing to play around anymore. The combat already happened. Like if they would have used the map pre-combat, I might have not done this actually because I want to hold up the Torch to kill off a potential Curiosity top deck. Yeah, and now they're at 14 live. I'm still at 7. Again, if they go for the Restless Reef, which they might, well, it doesn't make that much sense here, then I can Rage and potentially kill them. I think what you do is you just play Nemesis and then pump the Manifold Mouse with both Innkeeper and give a double strike and trample. And then you just attack with everybody. That's like 8 trample damage. and 6. You don't attack with the 1/1. You just attack with Nemesis. That threatens 14 damage, so they have to make a decision, a block essentially. And you still have both Torch and Rage up. So I'm like really happy drawing this land here. And I don't really see a line that's much better. It's like we already know that they can have maybe maximum 1 removal spell. Yeah. So it's not much can go array, and I still have a blocker left and a Torch, right? So I can like kill off the Tidebinder. If they have a removal, kill like the Manifold Mouse, take 6, right? Then I can kill off the Tidebinder and block like the Restless Reef and take 4 damage, go to 3. So there's nothing I can really die to. Like even a Flood Pit Drown, that doesn't kill me. And I can also choose, if they have Flood Pit Drown, I can choose not to attack for Nemesis, right? Because I'm kind of like winning the long game here with the Talon in play and the Mouse. Yeah. So I go for this, go into combat, wait if they have Drowner. Oh, I'm actually torching pre-combat, I guess. Wait, why am I doing this? Huh. They have a Phantom Interference Makers. Oh, this is fantastic for me. Probably have lethal now with the Rage. Yeah, definitely. Going for this line, just sort of to threaten even more lethal, I guess, to make them have to chump block the Soulstone or have a removal. Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's kind of free to do that. And now the Rage. Like now I can give double strike and do both and just go for max damage. And there's no way they're surviving this. This alone is 14 trample over there. And I have 8 more coming at them, so this is 22 damage. And they only have 4 toughness and 2 blockers. So they block like this. I have Rage as my last card, and I succeed! Played this game pretty well, I think. Again, these Nemesis are a little clunky on the draw. I mean, they served a good purpose here, but I guess I got a little bit lucky there because my opponent was kind of seemingly flooding. Drew the Phantom Interference probably late when they wanted to top deck a removal spell, and had like 6 lands in play. I guess it's not quite flooding having 6 lands in play there. But yeah, you saw the ineffectiveness of a Drowner perhaps, where it just, it bought some time, but then it was a 2/1 on the ground, which isn't great. All right, well, that's it with that. Man, these reviewing sessions are exhausting. Now another hour has gone by, and I'm like constantly talking as well. It's pretty exhausting. I got to take a break again. And then yeah, this was the last 3 matches on day 1. So day 2 is gonna be next, I guess. All right. Your feedback was pretty good already on the first video, so thank you for that. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys.